Welcome. Tonight, let your mind drift into the quiet corners of the English language. You're about to hear a collection of rare and beautiful words, each one chosen for its uniqueness, its sound, and the way it settles gently on the tongue. There's no story to follow, no plot to remember, just a slow, peaceful unfolding of language, designed to lull you to sleep. The images will stay dark, but whimsical. The words will flow, and all you have to do is listen. Let's begin. Gabardine, closely woven cotton or wool twill. Gabbert, barge. Gabble, to chatter or talk inarticulately. Gabbro, granular igneous rock. Gabelle, a salt tax. Gabion, wicker or wire basket of earth or rock. Gablock, spur attached to the heel of a fighting cock. Gad, to wander about idly or in pursuit of pleasure. Gadarene, headlong, precipitate. Gadoid, of, resembling or pertaining to the cod. Gadroon, embossed decoration or fluting on silverware. Gadzookery, the use of archaisms in literature. Gadzooks, mild oath. Gaff, spar on which head of fore and aft sail is extended. Gaff topsail, triangular topsail with its foot extended upon the gaff. Gauge, token of defiance or challenge, thing deposited as pledge of performance. Gaiter, Spanish bagpipes. Gal, unit of acceleration of 1 centimetre per second. Galabia, North African smock-like garment. Galactic, of, like or pertaining to or obtained from milk. Galactoid, like or resembling milk, milky. Galactometer, instrument for measuring specific gravity of milk. Galactophagist, milk drinker. Galactophorus, bearing or carrying milk. Galago, woolly long-tailed nocturnal lemur. Bush baby. Gala, blue-grey Australian cockatoo. Galanti, shadow play. Galatea, striped cotton. Galbanum nonsense, a kind of gum resin. Galanthropy, belief that one is a cat. Galetid, shaped like a helmet. Galliform, shaped like a helmet. Galere, group of undesirable people, unpleasant situation. Galariculate, topped by a hat-like covering. Galilee, porch in front of church. Galimatias, nonsense, confused mixture of unrelated things. Galley, to fill in mortar joints with small pebbles. Galliard, brisk, gallant, lively. Galliard, sprightly Renaissance and Baroque dance. Gallicide, killer of fowl. Gallimofrey, a mixture of different things. Hodgepodge. Gallinaceous, of or resembling pheasants and other domestic birds. Galleonic, uncaring, indifferent. Galliot, small galley. Gallipole, small medicine jar. Galleys, to bring wine to standard proportions. Gallimania, craze or obsession with France and the French. Galloon, lace trim or binding material. Gallopile, one who loves France or the French. Gallophobia, fear of France or the French. Gallop, lively double-time dance. Galvanometer, instrument for measuring electrical current. Galvanoscope, instrument for detecting presence and direction of electric current. Gambardo, bound or spring of a horse, fantastic movement. Gambeson, ancient leather or quilted coat worn as armour. Gambrel, crooked stick used by butchers for hanging carcasses. Gambrel, horse's hock. Gambrel, roof having a pentagonal gable. Gambroon, twilled worsted and cloth. Gametogenesis, formation of gametes. Gamic, sexual, sexually produced. Gamidolatry, worship of marriage. Gamin, street urchin, precocious imp. Gammonesque, playful, impish, boyish. Gamma, unit of magnetic flux density equal to 1 nanotesla. Gammadion, figure comprised of capital gammas. Swastika, gammacism, inability or hardship in pronouncing letters G and K. Gammon, to feign an action, perpetrate a hoax on, nonsense rubbish. Gammogenesis, sexual reproduction. Gammomania, obsession with issuing odd marriage proposals. Gammophagia, destruction of one gamete by another. Gammophobia, fear of marriage. Gangy, worthless rock in which valuable metals occur. Gangway, either of the sides of the upper deck of a ship. Ganister, flint-like rock used to surface roads. Gannet, large white Atlantic seabird. Ganoid, having shiny smooth scales. Ganosis, reduction in shininess of marble. Gantline, rope used in single block hoist. Gantry, shelving for barrels, shelf where drinks are displayed. Gaposis, gap in a row of buttons or snaps. Gar, mild oath. Garboard, plank on a ship's bottom next to the keel. Garbology, study of garbage. Garçonnière, bachelor apartment. Garde-bras, armour connecting the gauntlet to the elbow plates. Garde-viseur, visor of a helmet. Garde-loup, warning cry. Gargarize, to gargle. Garner, granary, store of anything. Garnetiferous, bearing garnets. Garret, room just under the roof of a house, attic. Gasconade, to brag or boast. Gasconism, boastfulness. Gasiform, of the form or shape of gas. Gasometer, instrument for holding and measuring gases. Gastriloquist, ventriloquist. Gastroenterology, study of stomach, intestines. Gastrolatry, gluttony, excessive love of food. Gastrolith, stone ingested by an animal to aid in digestion. Gastrology, good eating, cookery. Gastromancy, divination by sounds from the belly. Gastronomy, study of fine dining. Gastrophilanthropist, one who seeks to satisfy the appetites of others. Gastropod, mollusks including snails, slugs, whelks. Gastroscope, instrument for examining interior of the stomach. Gastrosopher, a person skilled in matters of eating. Gat, opening or strait between two sandbanks. Gatefold, oversized page in a book. Gaucherie, awkward or socially unacceptable remark. Gaud, trick or practical joke. Gaudiloquent, speaking joyfully or on joyful matters. Gaufer, to make pleats or ripples in material. Gauleiter, overbearing wielder of petty authority. Gault, heavy clay used for bricks. Gormless, stupid, witless, vacant. Gauntlet, armoured glove. Gore, wild ox. Gauss, unit of magnetic flux density equal to 1/10,000th Tesla. Gavage, force feeding of poultry. Gavelkind, land inheritance by all sons in equal portion. Gavotte, moderate tempo, French peasant dance. Gaudelpus, helpless person. Gale, domesticated ox with tufted tail native to South Asia. Gazar, silk organza fabric. Geal, of, like or pertaining to the earth. Gegenschein, glow of zodiacal light seen opposite the sun. Geist, spirit, intellectual inclination. Geitonogamy, pollination of a flower by another flower on the same plant. Gelada, long-haired Ethiopian baboon. Gelasin, dimple in the cheek that appears when one smiles. Gelastic, of, like or pertaining to or provoking laughter. Gelation, solidification by cooling. Gelid, extremely cold. Gelogenic, tending to produce laughter. Geloscopy, fortune-telling by means of laughter. Gemel, twinned, occurring in pairs. Gemeliparous, having given birth to twins. Gement, groaning, lamenting. Geminate, to double, to arrange in pairs. Gemination, doubling of a consonant sound. In rhetoric, repetition of a word or phrase. Geminiform, paired, double. Gemma, bud from which a new plant can grow. Gemmet, to deck with gems. Gemation, budding. Gemmeous, of, like or pertaining to gems, like a gem. Gemiferous, bearing gems. Gemology, study of gems and jewels. Gemsbok, large South African antelope. Genapa, smooth worsted yarn. Genarch, head of a family or clan. Generalate, the office of a general. Genesic, of, like or pertaining to procreation or the genitals. Genesiology, study of reproduction and heredity. Genet, spotted long-tailed carnivorous mammal like the civet. Genethliacon, birthday ode. Genethlialogy, the art of casting horoscopes. Genitrix, mother, female ancestor. Geniculate, bent like a knee. Jointed. Geniophobia, fear of chins. Genitive, indicating possession, origin or relation. Genoa, large jib that overlaps the mainsail. Genophobia, fear of sex. Genouillère, jointed knee-piece of armour. Gentilitian, belonging to a race or clan. Gentrification, movement of middle class to working class area. Geocarpy, the production or ripening of fruit underground. Geocentrism, belief that Earth is the centre of the universe. Geochemistry, study of chemistry of the Earth's crust. Geochronology, study of measuring geological time. Geocyclic, of, like or pertaining to the rotation and revolution of the Earth. Geodesy, Earth measurement on a large scale. Geofact, rock chipped naturally that looks like an artifact. Geogenous, growing on the ground. Geogeny, science of the formation of the Earth's crust. Geodesy, knowledge of the general structure of the Earth. Geogony, study of formation of the Earth. Geoid, figure of the Earth. Geolatry, Earth worship. Geology, study of Earth's crust. Geomancy, divination by casting Earth onto a surface. Geomorphogeny, study of the origins of landforms. Geophagy, practice of feeding on soil, dirt-eating. Geophilus, living in or near the ground. Geophone, device for detecting sound waves underground. Geophyte, plant that grows in the earth. Geoponic, agricultural. Geoponics, study of agriculture. Georgette, thin silk. Georgic, of, like or pertaining to agricultural or rustic affairs. Rural, agrarian. Geoscopy, examination or analysis of soil. Geoselenic, of, like or pertaining to both the earth and the moon. Geostrophic, of like or pertaining to deflection due to effects of Earth's rotation. Geotaxis, response of an organism to gravity. Geotechnics, study of increasing habitability of the Earth. Geothermometer, instrument for measuring subterranean temperatures. Geraskophobia, fear of growing old. Gerontology, study of decadence and decay. Gerdoing, imitation sound of a crash. Gerendum, something that is to be done. Gerent, one that rules or manages. Greenock, long-necked antelope with large eyes. German, of one's parents' siblings. Germanophilia, love or fondness for Germany or the Germans. Germicide, substance that kills germs. Gerochemy, study of old age. Geromorphism, appearing to be older than one's actual age. Gerontocracy, government by the aged. Gerontogynous, of, like or pertaining to the old world. Gerontology, study of the elderly, aging. Gerontophilia, sexual attraction towards the elderly. Gerrymander, to divide electoral districts for one's own political gain. Gesso, plaster of Paris used in painting. Gestatorial, of, like or pertaining to carrying. Gestic, of, like or pertaining to gestures. Geta, wooden-soled Japanese shoe. Gewgaw, toy, trifling object. Bauble. Gharial, large Indian crocodile with long snout. Gari, box-like Middle Eastern horse-drawn cab. Kawazi, Egyptian dancing girls. Jiaor, one who does not follow the Islamic faith, unbeliever. Gib, wedge-shaped piece of metal that holds another in place. Gibbet, gallows. Gibbous, humpbacked, humped, swollen. Gibbous, hat worn to the opera. Gid, brain disease suffered by sheep. Gig, light two-wheeled one-horse carriage. Giganticide, killing of a giant. Gigantology, study of giants. Gigantomachy, war of giants against the gods. Gigo, leg of mutton. Gig, lively Baroque dance in triple time. Gilbert, unit of magnetomotive force. Gilderoy, proud person. Gilliver, wallflower. Gimbals, arrangement of rings allowing free motion of supported object. Gimcrack, trick, trivial mechanism. Gimmel, ring that can be divided into 2 or 3 rings. Gingham, striped cotton cloth. Ginglimus, joint that permits movement in one plane only. Ginnel, narrow alley between high buildings. Ginnery, place where cotton is ginned. Girandole, branched chandelier or similar structure. Girasol, fire opal that glows like fire in certain light. Glabrous, hairless, smooth. Glaciology, study of ice ages and glaciation. Glacies, a gentle slope in fortification. Gladiate, shaped like a sword. Glare, egg white used as medium for binding paint. Glarus, slimy, viscous. Glandiferous, bearing acorns or nuts. Glandiform, gland-shaped, acorn-shaped. Glanduliferous, bearing glands. Glarious, gravelly, growing on gravel. Glaucus, sea green, greyish-blue. Glebe churchland granted to clergymen. Glebe, sod, the soil. Glebus, earthy, full of clods. Gleed, hot coal, burning ember. Gleek, a trick or joke. Gleat, mucus discharge from the urethra. Glenoid, slightly cupped, socket-shaped, gliriform, resembling a rodent. Glirine, rodent-like. of, like or pertaining to rodents. Glissade, moving on snow without skis. Gloaming, period between sunset and full night, dusk. Globuliferous, bearing globules. Gloccidiate, bristled, barbed. Glockenspiel, small bells or bars struck by hammer or keyed levers. Glomerate, packed or bunched together. Glosser the tongue. Glossographer, writer of short explanatory notes or glosses. Glossography, writing of glossaries, written description of a language. Glossoid, like a tongue. Glossology, study of language, study of the tongue. Glossophagene, eating using the tongue. Glottogonic, of, like or pertaining to the origins of language. Glozing, flattery, deceit. Gluconeogenesis, production of glucose from non-carbohydrates. Glumiferous, bearing glooms. Glutinous, gluey, sticky. Glutition, swallowing. Glycogenesis, production of glycogen. Glyptic, of, like or pertaining to carving or gem engraving. Glyptography, the art of engraving on gems. Glyptology, study of gem engravings. Nathal, of, like or pertaining to the jaws. Nathion, tip of the chin. Nathonic, flattering. Nome, short pithy saying or proverb. Gnomic, signifying general truth, pertaining to aphorisms or proverbs. Nomology, collection of aphorisms, proverbs and short poems. Gnomon, upright rod of a sundial. Mnemonics, the art of measuring time using sundials. Gnosiology, study of knowledge, philosophy of knowledge. Gnosis, knowledge, especially spiritual. Gnosticism, belief that freedom derives solely from knowledge. Notobiology, study of life in germ-free conditions. Goa, Tibetan gazelle with backward curving horns. Goanna, large Australian lizard. Goatish, lustful, foolish. Gobmoosh, gullible person. Godet, triangular piece of cloth inserted in a skirt. Goetic, of, like or pertaining to black magic. Goitrous, affected by or pertaining to goitra. Goldenrod, dark, golden yellow. Goliard, wandering student. Goliardy, riotous or lustful behaviour. Voluptuous, delightful, luscious. Gomphiasis, looseness of the teeth. Gomphosis, growth of teeth into the bone cavity. Gonalgia, knee pain. Gonfalon, ensign with streamers hung from a horizontal bar. Gonfalonier, standard bearer. Goniometer, instrument for measuring angles between faces. Gonoff, pickpocket, thief. Gora, bow and string instrument of Kuko people. Goral, small-horned antelope living in mountainous regions of South Asia. Gorget, piece of armour for the throat. Gorgoneon, representation of the Gorgon's head. Gorgonese, to turn into stone, to paralyse with one's gaze. Gourmandism, gluttony. Gormless, dull or unintelligent. Gorsed, assembly for granting awards to Welsh bards. Gossoon, boy servant. Gossipine, cottony. Gouache, opaque watercolour paint. Gauk, a cuckoo, a fool. Grabble, search with the hand. Grope. Graben, a rift valley. Gracility, slenderness. Gradatim, step by step. Gradgrind, one who regulates things by means of statistics. Gradin, a rising tier of seats in a theatre. Graudiometer, instrument for measuring gradient of a physical quantity. Gradual, part of mass between epistle and gospel. Gradualism, belief that things proceed by degrees. Graecomania, obsession with Greece and the Greeks. Graphology, divination by studying writing. Grain, unit of weight equal to 1/70,000th of a pound. Grape, pitchfork, dung fork. Gralatry, of, like or pertaining to wading birds. Gramarye, magic, enchantment. Gramercy, expression of gratitude or surprise. Graminious, of, like or pertaining to grass. Grassy, graminivorous, feeding on grass or cereals. Graminology, study of grasses. Grammalogue, word represented by a single sign. Logogram. Grammaticaster, a piddling grammarian. Grammatolatory, worship of letters and words. Grammatology, study of systems of writing. Grampus, blunt-nosed dolphin. Grandival, of great age, ancient. Granguard, armour for left side of body to protect from lance strike while jousting. Grandiloquent, bombastic. Grandinous, full of hail, consisting of hail. Grandissonant, pompous sounding. Grangerize, to cut plates out of many books to illustrate one. Granivorous, feeding on seeds. Granuliferous, bearing granules. Grapheme, a letter of the alphabet. Graphemics, study of systems of representing speech in writing. Graphia, African rodent with pencil-thin tail. Graphilagnia, obsession with obscene pictures. Graphology, study of handwriting. Graphomania, obsession with writing. Graphophobia, fear of writing. Graphospasm, writer's cramp. Grapnel, small anchor used for dragging or grappling. Graptomancy, divination by studying handwriting. Grassing, bleaching by exposure on grass. Graticulation, division of design into squares when scaling. Gratis, without charge, for free. Grattoir, scraper made of flint. Gratulatory, congratulatory. Grauncher, clumsy and incompetent mechanic. Graupel, frozen rain or snowflakes. Gravamen, grievance, grounds of legal complaint. Graveolent, rank smelling. Fetid. Gravid, pregnant. Graviloquence, grave speech. Gravimeter, instrument for measuring variations in gravitational fields. Gravimetrical, of, like or pertaining to measuring by weight. Gray, unit of absorbed dose of ionizing radiation equal to 100 rads. Grayling, silver grey freshwater fish. Grieve, armour for the shin. Greaves, tallow waste. Grebe, diving bird resembling the loon. Greagle, of, like or pertaining to a flock. Gregatim, in flocks. Greige, of a grey-beige colour. Gremial, intimate, pertaining to the lap or bosom. Grenadine, thin silk, grissorial, adapted for walking. Grisser, train spotter or railway enthusiast. Gridlin, violet grey. Griffade, sudden seizure with the claws. Grillage, framework of timber. Grill, bars of the visor of a helmet. Grilser, salmon first returning to the river from the sea. Grimgribber, learned gibberish, legal jargon. Grimoire, magician's book for summoning spirits. Grinagog, one who is constantly grinning. Gripulous, grasping, greedy. Grisé, style of painting in grey tints. Griseous, pearl grey or blue grey. Grizzled. Grison, weasel-like tropical American grey and black carnivore. Grith, sanctuary, asylum, grith breach, breach of the peace. Grive, white and olive tufted African monkey. Grobianism, slovenly boorishness. Groggery, low public house. Grognard, old or veteran soldier. Grogram, coarse, loosely woven silk fabric. Grammatic, of, like or pertaining to surveys or surveying. Grammatics, science of surveying. Grosgrain, heavy close-woven corded silk. Gruff, deep gully in peat moor area. Groundage, a charge on a ship in port. Groundling, person of inferior taste, commoner. Groundprox, altitude warning system in aircraft. Groundsel, lowest timber of a structure. Groupuscule, small clique or faction. Grout, to root or grub with the snout. Growlery, a retreat for times of ill humour. Groin, wooden breakwater, grufted, dirty, begrimed. Gruin, of, like or pertaining to cranes or similar birds. Grum, morose, surly. Grummus, clotted, lumpy. Grisbok, small speckled South African antelope. Guaniferous, bearing dung. Gardant, of a heraldic animal turned to side with head facing the viewer. Guarish, to heel. Guayabera, lightweight, short-sleeved, loose-fitting shirt. Gudgeon, a person easily cheated. Gudgeon, metal socket into which the pintle of a boat's rudder fits. Gu, two-stringed violin from the Shetland Islands. Gwenon, small, slender-bearded African monkey. Guerdon, reward, recompense. Gueriza, black and white Ethiopian tufted monkey. Geridon, small ornate table or stand. Gerit, chair with raised back forming a hood. Guff, nonsense, empty talk. Guichet, ticket window or similar small opening. Guidon, pennant with rounded outer edge. Guignol, something intended to horrify people. Guillemets, angled quotation marks used in French and some other foreign texts. Guillemot, narrow-billed Atlantic hook. Guilloche, to decorate with intersecting curved lines. Gimpe, wide cloth covering neck and shoulders worn by nuns. Guipure, lace having no ground or mesh. Guiro, serrated gourd scraped with stick to produce music. Gules, heraldic name for the colour red. Gulix, kind of fine linen. Gullery, place where gulls breed. Gulosity, gluttony, greed. Gulpin, credulous person, simpleton. Gummiferous, bearing gum. Gummosity, gumminess. Gumnivorous, feeding on tree saps. Gunarchy, government by women. Gynarchy. Gundi, desert-dwelling small rodent of northern Africa with bristles on feet. Gunnage, number of guns carried on a warship. Gunnel, upper edge of the side of a ship. Gurgitate, to bubble, to boil. Gurgitation, surging. Gurlet, pickaxe with one pointed and one bladed end. Goosely, Russian zither. Gutate, spotted, having drops or drop-like markings. Gutatim, drop by drop. Guttation, release of drops of moisture. Guttiferous, exuding drops. Guttiform, shaped like a drop. Guterotetany, spasm in the throat causing stutter. Guyot, flat-topped underwater mountain. Guibe, to swing a sail from one side to another. Guile, fermenting vat for beer. Gymnasias, the head of a gymnasium. Gymnasiarchy, government over a school or academy. Gymnasiast, a pupil in a gymnasium. Gymnobiblism, belief that the Bible can be presented to unlearned without commentary. Gymnophobia, fear of nudity. Gymnosophy, deep contemplation performed while naked. Gymnia, hairy hedgehog. Gynocide, killing of women. Gynecocracy, government by women. Gynechy, gynecology, study of women's physiology. Gynekomania, abnormal sexual obsession with women. Gynandroid, hermaphroditic, being of or resembling both sexes. Gynarchy, government by women. Gynics, knowledge of women. Gyneolatry, deep respect or devotion for women. Gynocentric, focused on or concerned with women. Gynocracy, government by women. Gynarchy, gynoticalobomasophile, one who nibbles on women's earlobes. Gypsiferous, bearing gypsum. Gypsography, art of engraving on gypsum. Gyrograph, instrument for counting a wheel's revolutions. Gyroidal, spiral, rotatory. Gyromancy, divination by falling from dizziness. Gyron, triangular heraldic charge. Gyros, having a folded surface marked with wavy lines. Gyrostatics, the study of rotating bodies. Gyrovague, monk who travels from place to place. Gyrus, convoluted ridge between two grooves. Gyve, to fetter, to shackle. You've just wandered through a quiet garden of forgotten words, each one a whisper, a rhythm, a resting place for your thoughts. There's no need to remember them. They were here only to guide you, gently, into stillness. If you're still awake, that's okay. Just let the silence wrap around you now. And when sleep comes, let it be soft and full of wonder. Good night.